Hello everyone, what's going on? It is MTEN here. Welcome back to another Terraria 1.4 tutorial, and in this video I will be discussing critical strike chance, what is it, and how to get the most critical strike chance for each class in Terraria 1.4. So for those of you that do not know or are new to the game, critical strike chance gives the player an opportunity for an attack to deal double the amount of damage expected. So a weapon with a base damage of 20 has a chance to occasionally shoot or attack an enemy for 40 damage in a single hit. Now, up until Terraria 1.4, the average weapon would have a base critical strike chance of 4, with a few weapons having critical strike chance that were a little bit higher, and I'll be showcasing them today. But that was for melee, ranged, and magic. Summoner class, up until 1.4, could not deal critical strike chance. Now that has changed, and I'll be going over some of the weapons and ways to get critical strike chance as a summoner in this. So the Daybreak with my current loadout has a base damage of 187 and a critical strike chance of 57%, which means just over half of my attacks here will be critical hits, as shown with the darker orange text. And as previously stated, those shots are dealing 360 damage instead of 180. Okay, so I'm about to get into the loadouts, but before we do that, please make sure to smash like. The like goal for this video is 2,000 likes, so if we reach that, that would be amazing. And make sure to subscribe for more videos like this if you enjoy this type of content. Okay, so let's start with the Ranger loadout because it has the highest potential crit strike overall. We can see we have the Unreal Sniper Rifle at the moment. Okay, and then we have the Vortex Armor set, and pressing down twice toggles stealth mode for this armor set, which means you move slower, but your damage and crit strike is increased dramatically. Now, Fishron wings, it doesn't matter what accessory you put here, I just put wings, because there are only 6 accessories that will increase your critical strike chance. They are the Sniper Scope and the Recon Scope. So these accessories do stack, which is nice to know in regards to increased damage and critical strike chance. In the 1.4 update, I recently found out that the Celestial Shell and buffs equivalent do not stack, unfortunately. Anyway, these 4 accessories here, the Putrid Scent, Celestial Shell, Destroyer Emblem, and Eye of the Golem, you are going to want to use for all of your loadouts because they increase critical strike chance across the board and not for a specific type of player. So just keep in mind to reforge all your accessories to lucky for your critical strike chance to be at its highest point. And as I just mentioned, Celestial Shell does not stack with the Celestial Stone in regards to its player buffs. Okay, now moving on to consumables, we have any exquisitely stuffed item that provides major improvement to all stats. So I've chosen the Christmas Pudding. You can choose bacon or something else. Ale is for melee characters only, I'll cover that more later, and the Rage Potion increases critical strike chance by 10% across the board, so make sure you have this as part of your loadout. As we can see, the Sniper Rifle has a 168% critical strike chance, which is pretty insane. Unfortunately, your critical strike chance will stay the same in regards to damage output once it is above 100%. Being above 100% does not mean that it will deal triple damage or anything like that. However, what it does mean is that if your character is at 100% critical strike chance and you are putting on accessories that are purposefully pushing it above, you can remove those accessories in favor of something else so that you don't have to worry about, you know, all this extra critical strike chance because it won't make a difference. So as we saw, the Sniper Rifle had a base damage of 577, but because we're dealing critical strikes, every shot is doing 1200 damage, 1300 damage around that area, which is double the predicted or base damage. Another thing I should mention to increase your critical strike chance on the weapon is change the modifier to Godly or Zealous, or if you are a ranged character, you can change it to Unreal, as we can see with the Sniper Rifle there, and that will increase it by 5%. So without any buffs or modifiers, the Sniper Rifle has a base crit chance of 29%, but a regular weapon like the Celebration MK2 has a base crit of 4%, which is now 138% with all of the buffs and modifiers. So let's see how that plays out. Got a nice 50 to 60k DPS going on here. As you can see, every shot is a crit, and the Celebration MK2 deals a lot of shots. So as mentioned, once you have over 100% critical strike chance, you can of course switch out your accessories into something that's going to be more beneficial to your character, allow for greater movement speed, or allow for like knockback reduction, etc, etc. As we can see, I still have 117% critical strike chance and my damage has been reduced a bit, but I can then change my focus on my accessory modifiers and stuff like that to damage rather than critical strike chance anyway. Okay, now let's move on to the melee class, and for this we are going to be using a mixture of armor sets: the Solar Flare helmet, the Frost chest plate, and the Valhalla greaves. So most of our accessories are actually going to stay the same. We have the main four that will be the same, however there are no extra accessories that boost melee crit chance specifically. So because of that, I'm just going to switch them out for the Soaring Insignia and the Star Veil just cause. But you could replace that with any other accessory, including ones that will benefit your character damage wise. So to get the highest critical strike chance for a melee character possible, you are going to want to use the Obsidian Swordfish, and I'm just going to have the Scourge of the Corruptor here by comparison as a weapon with an average base crit chance. The buffs, such as the Rage Potion and the Exquisitely Stuffed buffs, will be the exact same except with the addition of the Ale buff now, or anything that gives you or your player the Tipsy buff. Okay, so we can see that the Obsidian Swordfish is dealing all crits. No surprise there. And I'll switch over to slimes to showcase the Scourge of the Corruptor. Okay, so as mentioned, when you are using melee characters, make sure to use the Celestial Shell rather than the Stone, so that way you have the Moon Charm buff and turn into the Werewolf at night, which means that your character has a slight increase of 2% on their critical strike chance, and that buffs the Obsidian Swordfish's maximum potential critical strike chance to 157 instead. So, of course, any projectiles coming off the main source of the weapon will be dealing critical strike chances as well, so all of the Scourge items are dealing crit strikes. Okay, so we're going to move on to mage items now, and all my accessories are going to remain the same, except I'm going to replace my Star Veil with a Mana Flower, and it doesn't really matter. That's not because it increases critical strike chance, it's just because I can drink mana potions with it. And my armor is going to be the Orichalcum headgear, the Nebula breastplate, and the Dark Artist's leggings. So another mismatched armor set. As far as buffs go, it's the exact same except no Ale buff. Instead, we're going to be using the Clairvoyant Ball, the Crystal Ball, and that increases your magic powers, including critical strike chance. My weapon of choice is the Sky Fracture because it has a built-in 24% critical strike chance, which gives it 20% more than other magic weapons, such as the Spectre Staff. So we can see here it has a 150% critical strike chance at full capacity, and the Spectre Staff has 130% critical strike chance at full capacity. So as said previously, you can adjust your accessories and you can adjust your loadout accordingly to give yourself just the flat 100 rate, and it'll deal the exact same amount of damage. So one other thing to note in regards to magic weapons is that the Zappinator has a random chance to just deal a 10 times critical strike chance, or just a ridiculous increase in damage. It's not technically critical strike chance, but I thought I'd mention that in regards to magic weapons anyway. Okay, so Summoner is an interesting one because you cannot increase your critical strike chance based on weapons and accessories, but as you just saw there, the Desert Tiger Staff was doing critical strikes, and it only seems to do this when it does its roll in a ball and launch attack. See, as seen just there, and I think the critical strike chance of that is just based on whatever critical strike chance your character has. And I found that very interesting because its normal attacks where it's just bouncing on top of enemies do not deal critical strikes at all. So I think this is a unique ability of the Desert Tiger Staff in regards to summons, because other summons do not do this. Yes, as a general rule, your summons and minions will not have their critical strike chance increased based on the critical strike chance of the character. Instead, I would definitely say focus your builds on increasing the number of minions and the minions' base damage. So currently, other than the Desert Tiger Staff, the only way to increase your summoner's critical strike chance is with the summon tag damage of the Kaleidoscope and Morningstar whips. The Kaleidoscope has a 10% summon tag critical strike chance, and how that works is if you hit an enemy with your whip, there is a 10% chance that a minion will deal a critical strike on that enemy. Now, this isn't as usable in enemies that are going to be taken out in a couple of hits. It's really only for bosses and stuff like that. And we can see the blade staff here doing 56 damage to the twins instead of 30 on critical strikes. So that's summon critical chance. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that very well. If you didn't understand, please leave a comment down below and hopefully myself or someone else will be able to explain it better in a comment form. Okay, so the final way to get the ultimate critical strike chance in the game is actually with the Sergeant United shield, which has a buff that I didn't realize existed until researching for this video. But you can right click using the Sergeant United shield to parry an enemy's attack. And you can see there, very briefly, I had a buff and I dealt 5 times a regular hit damage, 698 damage. Let me just get a replay on that real quick. Really powerful stuff there. So as we can see, I parry the slime's attack and the buff appears in the top left hand corner, which is the striking moment, 500% increased damage. So shoot the shield at the slime, 698 damage instead of the regular 60. So yeah, if we take a look here at the striking moment, 500% increased damage for the next melee strike, and this buff lasts 5 seconds. And I believe that this opens up the door for potentially the highest single bit of damage in the game. Potentially, if you have this buff active and then take out a Crawltipede with the most highest damage melee weapon, then potentially I think you could get the highest single hit of damage in the game. But that will need some testing, and I'll probably leave that for someone like Mappy Gaming to work out. Or if any of you in the comments want to try it out and record it and upload it, please let me know and I'll make sure to check it out if I see. Okay, so that is how to get the highest critical strike damage in Terraria 1.4 journeys, and I hope you learned something from this video and enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like. The like goal, like I said, is 2,000 likes. I think that'd be awesome if we could hit that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more tutorials like this, max stats tutorials, then subscribe for more coming soon and turn on that notification button. Anyway, thank you very much for watching everyone, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.